Welcome to Jets Rewind. I'm Marty Shupak in Valley Cottage, New York. I'm joined by Ray Clifford in Marysville, Ohio. And Ralph Sharega is joining us from Belmont, Mass. How you doing, Ralph?
Marty, I'm doing well. I got to tell you something funny. During the Jet game last weekend, I was driving fast to catch a plane in Detroit from another part of Michigan. And when I wasn't driving, I'm on my phone watching progress of the game. And after I finished driving at a certain point, I knew the game was over. And I see your texts, and one of your texts says, "Oh, the Jets packed it in." And I go, "Oh, God damn it, they lost again." And then I see the final score, and I start going to all these sites going, "Is this a mistake or something?"
Well, when they were running down their throat at the end,
yeah,
I said, they packed it in. But what happened was, there's a good story because Ray had shut it off.
I know. This time it was Ray. I cannot believe Ray was the disloyal one this time.
After Chubb scored, I was like, "That's it." I mean,
yeah. And then I called them up right after Davis scored the touchdown.
Did you see the missed point after, or did you turn it off before that?
No,
when he called me, they were just setting up for the onside kick, and they were showing the replay of the Davis. I said, "If you called me up to watch him drop a bomb, I'm going to kill you."
But Ralph, what's funny is when I call Ray, there's like a 3 to 5 second delay, and it drives him crazy. He hears me cheering or cursing.
Yeah,
I want to hang up on him.
Then he says, "I got to hang up." So
I know. Sometimes when you send texts,
you want to see
3 seconds ahead.
I know. I'm just, you know me. I want to get the byline. I want to be the first one. All right. Anyway, what an exciting game, and we're all Jet fans. We're still on a high as we're going to be going into our Metropolitan Stadium. It's called MetLife Stadium, and taking on the Super Bowl AFC champ Cincinnati Bengals. That's 0-2. But before we do, I want to do a little bit of house cleaning. This week, the Jets added offensive guard Adam Pankey, and they let cut Chris Glasser. And they also added Spencer Deontay, a wide receiver return guy. They let go of punter Ty Long. And, Braden Mann was the special teams player of the week, which he deserved it. And today it came on that Corey Davis had limited practice because of a knee. So we have to see Robert
Denzel Mims.
Yeah, his press conference tomorrow morning to see what happens. But I want to start right in with Ralph because Ray and I discussed it, and we're not going to spend a lot of time, but I can't believe how much crap Chubb is getting and the coach about not going down. I said it's in the list of life in the game, it's so low in the list. You got to be kidding, Ralph. What was your feeling?
Well, let me say this. I don't know. Did the coach didn't tell Chubb to go down? Okay, so no. It's Chubb in the last 2 minutes was the only player on that team who did his job. Everyone else screwed up royally. It's absurd to blame that guy. I mean, it's just ludicrous. And really, with 2 minutes left, who would have thought of that? I mean, they didn't have any timeouts. It's true, but man, I mean, what? It's been 3,000 games since something like that's happened. I mean, everything has to go wrong. It's just,
and it did.
It did, and we know that because we've seen that happen.
Right.
Where all you have to do is make 1 out of 9 different plays, and it's over. And they couldn't close the deal.
Yeah,
but
Ray Stefanski tried to deflect it off of Chubb onto him, saying it was his fault, but.
Chubb
Could you ever see Belichick or Parcells do something like that? They would have said, "Gosh, Martin, you had that game won."
Yeah.
They wouldn't have said anything like that.
Yeah, but I don't think Belichick or Parcells would have blamed Chubb for it either. I think they would have said we had plenty of opportunities to not blow that game, and that touchdown.
At that moment, was anybody thinking, "Oh, take a knee"?
No, there's no one was thinking. Of course not. It's ridiculous, and it's the old story. Monday morning quarterback, and we would have probably done the same thing if the roles were reversed. They're looking for someone to blame. They're so frustrated.
They got plenty of people to blame.
They
Not
do.
him though.
They do. No. And I'll tell you, I looked at the tape again on that onside kick. I don't know what Amari Cooper was doing.
Well, he's
Stood
one.
there, didn't make a move to get the ball.
I don't understand that. What's he doing on the hands team then? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Denzel Ward, did you hear his line when he said,
Yeah, it wasn't my fault.
It wasn't my fault, but I'll take the blame. What does that mean?
Well,
I'm
well,
interested to
Well,
see
it's
how
you
this,
or one other guy. So
interested to see how this team reacts, Cleveland.
Yeah,
Next week.
they're taking the field as we're recording this on Thursday
Right, that's
night at
right,
7:30.
yeah.
They're taking the field at about a half hour.
Probably
But-
good that it's quick turnaround for them.
Yeah, it just is amazing, and I'll tell you, in one respect, the Jets lost out a little bit because they would have gotten so much more publicity if Miami didn't come back and Arizona didn't
God.
come back. You know what I mean?
Crazy games, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were 3 games, but Ray, I wanted to ask you something about because you're out there. That's the what is. Do you hear any of the talk radio out there? What's the feeling this week so far?
Actually, the guys on the radio are kind of like we are. They're like, yeah, if he'd have knelt down, I know it would have. But he said they all say the same thing. That's no excuse for how they blew that game. Everything that they could have done wrong went wrong. The one guy that is bothering me on the daytime, he's like, well, they lost it. The Jets are just a terrible team. I'm like, do you know anything about the Jets? I was like, he's like, their defense is terrible. They all look at the final stats is all they do. Through 3
Right.
quarters, the Browns had 41 yards rushing, I think it was, on 20 carries, something like that, through 3 quarters. But the 4th quarter, they ran all over us. A lot of it being just like Sal and them said, and I remember complaining about it in the Baltimore game, quit trying to tackle the ball and tackle the guy. And that's where a lot of the yards came from in that 4th quarter. And they wore down a little bit. They seem to wear down by the 4th quarter, and teams are more successful running on us.
Well, you know what bothers me about that is that Salah's calling card is we got all these defensive linemen and we rotate them and nobody plays more than 40 plays.
Right.
So we're fresh in the 4th quarter. So something's not working.
Yeah, something doesn't look right.
We're going to talk about this because I'm very, very concerned about the Jets' pass rush or lack of pass
Yes,
rush.
that I am concerned
But-
about.
but
I
I
think they do well against the run.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that. I'm going to give them a pass on that first game, and I'll tell you why. But Ray, one other thing, on the Denzel Ward play, somebody had said that the safety was so nervous about Garrett Wilson, he was just about double teaming him there. Was that brought up at all out there? Did you hear anything?
No,
like
they
that?
brought up more, and actually being from Columbus, I'm surprised they were so tough on Denzel Ward, but they were the same way. It's just like, who are you blaming? It's not my fault. It just, there's problems on that team, and it's communications, yeah, but don't just sit there and go, it wasn't my fault. Somebody, you could have stayed with him, the safety could have stayed with him. Don't be tossing your teammates under the bus is basically what they were saying.
Yeah, that's a bad look, definitely.
Yeah, you're right. As I mentioned at the beginning, Ralph Braden Mann was a special teams player of the week.
Yeah, boys, he flipped this year, huh? Wow.
And he flipped the field. But it's not just the onside kick, which was brilliant, or the pass for a first down to your favorite Jet, Jeff Smith. But he punted very well.
Yeah, he got a couple of coffee corner jobs, huh?
Yeah, now it came out that he was dealing with a tightness either in his back, Ray, or his hamstring. I don't know. I heard about that after last week's game because I was ready to get rid of the guy. But if he plays like that, punts like that, he's fine.
Well, if he plays like that, I want him as quarterback.
Or linebacker.
Yeah.
That's what I
Well, a punter, if it's a bad back or a hamstring, that's kind of the worst things for a punter because they've, most of them are pretty damn flexible. So if your back's tight or if your hamstring's tight, you're not getting full extension on your kicks. And so, that's what we were talking about in last week's podcast was he isn't getting the distance like he was before. And that's probably a lot of why.
Right. I want to throw this out. We're going to get 2 things. I'm going to throw you out at once. Ralph, you could take one at a time. where is the Jets pass rush? And how in the world can we stop the screen pass? Go ahead, Ralph.
The defense as a whole bothers me. I just feel like something is not connecting there. The pass rush. All right, Lawson, he's not a sacker. He does get a push. You laid a question out about Jacob Martin and Huff. I think, and Ray, I know you don't agree with me on this. I think Jermaine Johnson shouldn't be playing, but they have to keep him out there, I suppose.
You could say the same thing about Jacob Martin. He's got $6 million guaranteed, but the way he's playing, I can't see how they could not activate Bryce Huff.
Oh, definitely activate Bryce Huff. Who you drop? I would prefer to drop Jermaine Johnson. He just seems like he's in over his head right now. But yes, I think Bryce Huff definitely deserves to play.
Okay, Ray, your thoughts on the pass rush?
Well, for Ralph, I would have disagreed with you last week. I wanted to see Jermaine Johnson get another game and see if he could, maybe improve on the first game. He didn't do bad against Baltimore, but he wasn't doing anything, that was, jaw dropping by any means either. But I wanted to see if he just would settle down and improve. Now, you got to go with whoever you think will work. And if Bryce, if you want to give Bryce Huff a shot, I would give him a shot probably before Jacob Martin, but whatever, I don't see him practicing, so I don't know, who they would go with, but I would go with that. As far as the screen pass, I think that's a lot on the linebackers as much as anybody. I think they've got to read it and kind of disrupt. I think they're just getting out of position and falling for fakes, and a couple of those screens, you could see the second the guy caught the ball, either we were in trouble. They had blockers out there and none of our guys in sight. So I don't know. I think it's on the linebackers more than anybody.
Yeah, it is. And I'm going to get Ralph's opinion on the screen pass. Ralph, I want you to answer about Quincy Williams, because look, I'm a little down on this guy. I wanted who's the guy, Damien Sherwood?
Yeah.
I think he's a much smarter player. But before I get your opinion on that, Robert Saleh and other coaches, they should take a lesson from this giant coach, Dabo, because he benched this wide receiver Galladay, which was a great move last week. Now, he doesn't have, I know it's a little different than the Jets situation, because he doesn't have any loyalty to him, because he was picked up in the previous regime. But again, when I see this guy, Jacob Martin, he's just not doing the job. So I really think they have to activate Bryce Huff. All right, Ralph, your opinion on the screen pass and Quincy Williams.
I would have no problem putting Sherwood in there at this point. He showed me something in preseason this year. I didn't see it last year. He's definitely a smarter player. I don't think he has the physical talent that Williams has, but yeah, I would try that definitely.
Yeah, one of the things, Ray, it's a myth that's revisionist history. People are saying that Joe Flacco is having an unbelievable year. They look at his stats, but you got to look at the way he played that first game. I mean, 300 yards, I think 200 of those yards were in garbage time, Ray.
He threw 60 passes.
Well, no, I was going to say he threw 60 passes, so he could have done 5 yards a pass.
Right.
So, but yeah, well, it is. It's what have you done for me lately? I mean, and if it isn't for the last 2 minutes of that game, I'm not sure their feelings are any different about him anyway. He was not a problem, but I really want to see Zach get back in there, somebody who's a little mobile, can do stuff on the run, can give us a few more options and flexibility in the offense. And let's find out if he's learned anything since last year. That they keep talking about it. Now let's see if it's true.
Ralph, go ahead, Ralph.
I'll say this about Flacco. I mean, for years I watched Brady his first few years, and I remember I used to say to myself, for 3 quarters the guy was an average quarterback, but in the 4th quarter he's great. And, that's where quarterbacks earn their money. So I have to give Flacco props for that game.
I'm not putting him down for it.
I'm the biggest Zach Wilson guy on this panel, but if Joe Flacco lights it up and the Jets win this game, I think they're going to come up with an excuse not to play.
They'll say he isn't ready.
Yeah, they'll say he isn't ready. But I think it would put a lot of pressure on Wilson. If they lose, fine. We're ready to move on from Flacco. He did what he could. But you don't want to put this kid in a position where he's going to start hearing boos if something doesn't go right immediately.
Yeah, that actually was my next question. Now, I throw this out of both of you. I want Ray's reaction first. I don't want to talk too much, but let me just say I've become a huge Max Mitchell fan. Even on that strip by Clowney, Ralph, you weren't on our last show. Ray and I agreed.
Yeah.
He did really everything he had. Clowney made an unbelievable
Yeah, no, I heard Ray's analysis. He was right. He sort of moved at first for the inside. It was like Garrett.
Yeah,
and
he
then,
put
and then
both
he
on the
took a
same
step
side.
back. And if he hadn't done that, I think he would have taken him out of the play. As it was, yeah, he just sort of got him by his fingertip. I can't get down on him for that.
No,
and
that was a great play.
Yeah, it was a great play by Clowney. And on the winning TD pass, if you watch, he was actually blocking Myles Garrett. And when I say blocking, he just was kind of shielding him and pushed him past the play.
Yeah,
which is a great move. So here's a two-part question. Ray, you answer first. Is Marty overrating Max Mitchell? And in week 5, if Dwayne Brown is ready to come back, who do you start?
Well, no, you're not overrating Max Mitchell because he's playing outstanding, all things considered. I mean,
he's getting a little help sometimes.
Yeah, he's getting some help, but he's holding his own for the most part. I have no problem with Max Mitchell. Hard to say. Dwayne Brown, though, I think they will start him and they'll move Fant over there. And if either of them struggled, is that what I would do? I would.
If they're 2-2, what would you do if they're 2-2, 5th game?
Well, the problem is I'm not sure that Mitchell is as good a run blocker as Fant at this point, and we need to get the running game going. So I could see him moving him over there, and if Dwayne Brown starts struggling, then make adjustments. But I could see him moving Fant over and trying to get the run game going, because that really will make everything different for this offense. But we haven't really, we show it on plays here and there, but there's no consistency to it. And they got to really get the run game going.
Ralph, your take on Max Mitchell?
I'm really pleased. I think a couple of years down the line, he might be our right tackle. Definitely. I think the amount of money they paid Dwayne Brown, they're going to put him in there to see what he can do. I mean, if he's a disaster, they will pull him, but they're going to give him his shot and put Fant back on the right side.
Right. By the way, I just, as we're filming this, Aaron Judge walked his first time up in the bottom of the
He's going to have a record for walks between now and the season.
All right. Anyway, moving on. Okay. Now, Cincinnati's coming into town. I want to ask Ralph first. They have I think 3 stud receivers. I really do. I think Tyler Boyd is excellent. They have T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd. Ralph, who do you put on Chase? Because I happen to think that DJ Reed right now is playing the best on defense out of everyone.
Well, I don't think Salah flips his guys. He just lines them up, and whoever lines up in front of them, I don't think he's going to do that. Reed plays better on the side he's on now than
The right
he did
side.
on the other side.
Yes.
The thing I want to talk about, I think the cornerbacks are the strength of their defense. And I'm tired of all the zone. I don't think it plays into their strengths. And I think those safeties are really bad. Their communication is bad and their tackling is bad. And I just want to see, I don't care who takes whom. I just want to see those guys going one-on-one against them a lot more.
Ralph, I agree 100%. I was going to bring that up. The formula has been on first and second down, play zone, third down, play man. I would go man the whole time. I would. And even Michael Carter in the slot is still doing pretty well.
Yeah. Now, in the play that Gardner messed up in the end zone, he's going to make mental mistakes as a rookie, but if you have him just playing a guy, he knows what to do. That's his bread and butter. They keep it simple for him, and then that's his talent. They did fourth pick, use it. I think they're being stubborn about this.
Right. So, Ray, do you agree that whoever lines up in their side, and Ralph's right, because DJ Reed became a different ball player when Pete Carroll kept him, I believe it's the right side.
Yeah.
And that's where he's most comfortable. So what's your feeling, Ray, on these three receivers?
Yeah, well, I think Ralph is right too. I don't think Salah switches them in general, and I'm not sure. If Sauce played right or left in college. I thought maybe he played right, but whatever side he's on, I'd rather have him stay there, get comfortable, and just be a solid corner at whatever side that he's normally on, and whoever they send there is fine. If they, but to just think it's Chase is taken away from Higgins and Boyd. They're both good receivers too.
Really good, yeah.
I think they got the pick. I think Cincinnati's whole issue and problem is just like ours. Their offensive line. They brought in all these guys and they are not gelled at the moment anyway. And we got to hope that they have another rough week and we can take advantage of it, because their offensive line has not lived up to the money they paid them to get them there. So I think that's really the issue with Cincinnati more than the receivers, is if we can take advantage of their line not being not being cohesive at this point and getting pressure on Burrow like Dallas did, and like who they play the first one.
Was it Pittsburgh that played?
Pittsburgh, yeah.
He's been sacked. Everybody's been 13 times in 2 games.
Yeah, I think his career arc could be Andrew Luck. I think he might have a short career. He's been beaten up ever since he got into the league, and they haven't done anything about it.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Well, they did try this
offseason.
But now some of that's on him too. He hangs out. He has a tendency to hang on to
the ball.
So a little bit that's on him too. But they haven't been good. I mean,
if the Jets don't get some sacks this game, they're never going to get any sacks.
It's funny. I was listening to actually a broadcast out in Cincinnati, and one of the announcers was saying how he's getting overly concerned about throwing an interception or turning it over. And he's saying you could just see it. He's not playing with the relaxed.
He had like 4 picks the first game. Now I imagine that was really traumatic.
But it's funny. It reminds me of an old story that I heard Phil Simms say. He's walking out in the tunnel, and Parcells goes up to him and says, "Simms, if you don't throw an interception today, you're not taking enough chances." Which is pretty. He's the master psychologist. That's a great move, which is good. But you're right, Ralph. 4 interceptions, but
I don't agree with that though. I don't think he's worried about throwing the picks. I think he's just unbelievably. I think he's under more pressure from the defense this year than he was last year, even. So I think that's what it is. Is he's really kind of running for his life and trying to find guys. And I thought they protected him better last year, and they weren't great then.
Right. Again, they haven't played together a lot. And, a lot of times, I don't even know if they played in the preseason. I just want to mention the weak links are the right offensive tackle, Lyle Collins, and the left offensive tackle, Jonah Williams. Ralph, #1 pick. He was a first-round pick out of Alabama.
Well, Lyle Collins, I remember the Jet fans wanted to trade for him a couple of years ago. He was going to be a free agent.
Right.
I guess that hasn't worked out too well.
I just want to give my 2 cents on the pass rush. I give these guys a pass in that first game because I really believe they were sticking to their lanes.
Containment
because of Lamar Jackson. But I've been very disappointed in the second game. And the only thing I can think of, maybe Mekhi Becton is really worse than we thought, because I keep thinking of how Lawson keep hearing he was going around him every single play. So I want to see some of that. I want to see I know he's not Myles Garrett, but I want to see some pressure. I want to see.
Well, he looks like he's always doing a bull rush. It seems like that's what he does all the time. I mean, he should have a speed rush too.
He should. I'll
yeah.
tell you, he's got a good bull rush. It's Michael Clemens.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! You got to keep him active too.
Oh,
if they activate Huff and they deactivate him, I would be upset. It would be terrible.
I can't. I have to be shocked if
They can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that. Okay. All right. We mentioned the receivers, and there's a guy they have who plays nose tackle, DJ Reader. Man, this guy's 6'3", 347. He's a handful.
Oh, McGovern will just move him out of the way.
McGovern is like, I've been on him, Ralph, as we enter the fourth quarter. But McGovern, I mean, I don't know if he could move a bowl of cotton candy the way it's going now. I mentioned to Ray, in my mind, priority, again, I don't want to look ahead. We just started the season in the draft. You pick the order, safety, center, linebacker. Any order you want, Ralph. How would you go in the draft? Why would I mention that?
Well, I guess it depends on who's there. Yeah, I'm happy with any of those. I don't know. I think center you could probably get further down. I don't. Any of them. Yeah, whoever's the best of the best player at that position, I would take, because
Right.
those are the three. And as far as the safeties go, though, do you think they should continue with these two guys or try other guys?
Well, they first of all, it was obviously, we think, and we don't know what's going on in practice, getting rid of Pinnock was a mistake. Because when he played safety, he had one good game, one not great game. But if they think so highly of this guy, Adams, who looked terrible in that one play trying to cover Cooper, maybe you got to play him. But we all like Will Parks, who I think is pretty good. But I wanted to ask Ray, I don't know, how interchangeable can you go from like a defensive back to safety? And the reason for asking this, I was very impressed with Eccles when he came in there for a couple of plays. But could a guy like that play safety or no?
Well, could he? Yeah. I mean, safety doesn't take as it's a whole different mindset. Safety's dealing with other things, and you're not, the DBs are dealing with a guy right off the line of scrimmage. The safeties are dealing with guys, trying to, be a deep man or come up and help with the run. It's not the same kind of attitude, but you gotta know you got to know your reads. You got to know where you're supposed to be. It's just like anything else. You got to learn the position. So could he? Yeah, but not like
yet,
overnight.
no.
It's going to be something where they're going to have to start having practice.
I'd like to see someone instead of Joyner. Will Parks, even on passing down to Ashton Davis. I mean, the guy's in for one play. He read the quarterback size. He made the pick. Nobody else in the team does that. Their safeties. I'd give him a little time when passing downs. What do you think of that?
I would play him more. I mean, of course, after a game like last week, Sal, he was gushing. He's saying, well, that, he's getting better every day. He's saying about Ashton Davis, but we've had every day for 2 years now.
Well, he's, is this the first time he's actually been healthy?
Well, that's true too.
Yeah,
that's true too. Actually, you know what, Ralph? That's a good point. If he can become the player that Ray and I and you thought he could become, that could be the answer. But this who's it, LaMarcus Joyner?
Yeah,
he's like, to me,
done.
It looks like to me. Remember when you were a little kid with your friends and you used to like spin around for like 30 seconds and then like, you didn't know where. That's what LaMarcus Joyner reminds me of. It's like he doesn't know his body's being turned around.
Yeah, and both those guys are shoulder tackling and whiffing on tackles. It's
yeah.
You think Whitehead's that bad, Ralph?
I really love the signing, but I feel like he's not. They're not. Either of them are communicating. I want Whitehead to stay, but I don't want both of them back there. I think they're sort of redundant. They're the same size. They're the same kind of player. They need someone who is going to have some range and play center field out there. Parks is about 6'1". I'd be happy to try him. or Davis. But boy, I think those guys have been bad the first 2 weeks.
And is it a leap of faith if I say work in Tony Adams for 5 to 10 plays a game? Is that too much for an undrafted free agent?
You might take a look. Look, I'll take a look at anyone. We're desperate, but
Yeah.
the other guy's been there 3 years now, and it's his 3rd year, so he must know that.
Ray, what would you do if you were the defensive coordinator in the safety position?
Well, they thought enough of Adams to keep him on the team. So, get him out there. But I think my biggest problem with them and all the rest of the defensive backfield is quit tackling the ball, tackle the guy, get him on the ground, and let's try and put these teams in a little longer than 2nd or 3rd and 1. We're so busy trying to make up. I know we're behind, a lot of times when they're doing it, but what'll help us get back in the game is stop them on a 3 and out or something, get off the field on 3rd down and get the ball back and try.
The funny thing is, we haven't gotten any fumble recoveries, have we?
No.
Yeah, no, the turnovers, we
I
got
think that's the first interception. Well, no, I guess
second
it was
one.
Baltimore.
Reed had one, and he
Yeah.
had it. He found out his father passed away.
Yeah.
The two, I call them, I guess, symbolic things that I saw last game that I think is a good sign. Both Queen and Williams went to the locker room and they said his return was questionable. And Garrett Wilson went down. I don't know if you saw the play, Ralph. Ray and I were talking about it. He hit his back on the ground so hard, and he went into the booth. But both of those guys were questionable. They both came back. I think that's a great sign. I think if maybe Adam Gase was the coach, they would have maybe not come back, whatever. But I think, look, we want Saleh to succeed. I think they like playing for this guy, and nobody needed that game more than Robert Saleh last week.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, look, we're going to close it out. A quick trivia question. The starting center for the Cincinnati Bengals is Ted Karras, who Ralph knows very well, and Ray does too, because he was with the Patriots. He won 2 Super Bowls with them. Who was Ted Karras' uncle who played in the NFL?
Alex?
Yes, sir.
What movie was he in?
Blazing
He had a
Saddles.
TV show.
Blazing Saddles, and he was also on that show, TV show. He was a
But-
character. Yeah, I like that.
What's interesting about Ted Karras, he's got a grandfather that also played in the NFL. Ted Karras Sr.
Huh.
He played on a championship team years ago too.
That would
So-
be like in the old Continental League or something, or the
No, I don't know.
Chicago Staleys.
The AFL or whatever
Yeah.
it was.
Where the Cleveland Browns originated from. Yeah.
Right.
I did not know he was related to Alex.
Yes.
Cool.
By the way, at the game this past Sunday was a former Jets tackle, Jason Fabini.
Oh, yeah.
He was there with his son out in Cleveland. And it came out that Jason Fabini, when he was drafted, he was the 111th pick in the 4th round.
Right.
He went to Wisconsin. Is that
No.
right?
No, I think he went to
Cincinnati.
a smaller school.
Minnesota?
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, right. Went to Cincinnati, yeah.
Right.
And as it turns out, Max Mitchell was the 111th pick in the 4th round. So that's pretty interesting.
Good. Yeah.
Little
Well,
karma.
that's excellent.
All right,
Fabini actually played left tackle.
We're going to wrap this up for Ralph Schrager, Ray Clifford, Marty Shupak, and Jets Rewind. Check out our website. Make sure you watch me on Saturday morning on Jets Rewind Plus. I have a game plan that Robert Saleh has to follow. Until next time.